Are you ready? Are you ready for one of the most unique and fun shows on the internet? Well, if you're not ready, why are you here? This is After School with the Awesome Lawsons. You may think you know Cadence and Eli, but now's your chance to really get to know them. The Awesome Lawsons. Finally something for the whole family. In this crazy world, we need the positive energy. We need the love, and we need to laugh more. And that's what you get here on After School with the Awesome Lawsons.
What's going on, everybody? School is out, and we're back with another episode of After School with the Lawsons, featuring Cadence and Eli, but today we're doing something a little different. We do not have Cadence, we do not have Eli. We have a special guest on today's episode. Not only is he a dad, he's a great friend, he's a hero, and an inspiration to many. And not only all that, to top it off, this man right across from me, Dustin Blair, is my cousin. So, Dustin, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Oh, man, absolutely.
We appreciate it. You're on episode 3, by the way. This is something new we're doing. This is completely new, actually. So we're 2 episodes in. This is number 3.
Why did I not get the invite sooner? Why was I not?
You would have been much cooler.
Such an inspiration to so many, but I wasn't number 1 or 2 on the list there. But it's fine, no big deal.
Hey, you made first, second, or third. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I got the bronze. That's
got fine. The bronze. But yeah, my man Dustin here is a fireman, local fireman with the Bowling Green Fire Department here out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, actually.
Yes,
so tell us a little bit about that. We'll start there. We got some questions from our viewers today, so we're going to go over some of that. But we're just going to get to know you a little bit because I know you, but my viewers, my listeners don't.
All right.
So let's start there, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, boy. How far? Where do you want me to start? How far back do you want me to go?
Let's go back in time. I wish I had a little wind chime, like a...
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just start with the basics, all right? 38
You're good looking.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. I was going to bring that in later, but, 38 years old, married for almost 9 years this year, father of 2, 6-year-old daughter, 3-year-old son, birthday's next month.
Your birthday or?
Their birthdays.
Oh, gotcha.
7 and 4. They'll be 7 and 4 next month.
Wow.
Birthdays are 2 days. Now they don't care.
Yeah, that's how me and my sister Chelsea was.
Yeah, y'all were what, 4 days?
Yeah, 4 days. 10 and the 14th.
Yeah.
So did y'all plan that or what?
Well, that's a longer story, but yeah, Jamie, my wife, she kind of had it planned. She knew when she wanted to give birth based on what the weather was going to be out. She wanted it to be warm outside where you could have versatile birthday parties. You could be indoors, outdoors.
For both or just?
Yeah, for both. She didn't want to be super pregnant.
Gotcha.
When it was really hot outside. So she wanted to, this was no accident. I mean, this was in healthcare, been in healthcare since I was 18, x-ray tech, do that on my days off. All firemen have another job on their days off. So that's what I do. So
what do you do on your off days?
X-ray tech, Greenview Hospital here in town.
So what's a firefighter schedule look like?
Here we do 24-hour shifts, 24 hours on, 48 hours off.
Is that normal, like even in the bigger cities?
I think it's pretty standard around most of the country. Some do is on 4 days off.
Wow.
In other departments, not us. We're on for 1 day off for 2 days.
I wonder what would be better, the one day and 2 days, or
for being a big helper and listener and a leader.
And she gets those awards.
Yeah. She just got one a couple days ago.
What was that?
We got a call from, I don't know, being excused by the door, at the house. Like, she just doesn't listen to anything.
Classic.
So I don't understand what that is with kids, how they're so good at other places, and then just.
Yeah, that's how Eli was for a little while. So he's 7, and Cadence is 10. She's about to be 11. Yeah, just like you said, completely, like, if they're somewhere else, they're way better than,
Yeah, it's the same thing with Cooper. Every day we pick him up from daycare, she's like, oh, he was so great today. He had such a great day. He cleaned up all of his toys, and then
touching nothing
right
at the
before
house.
I came down here, he threw a car at me because I asked him to do something. So it's just, You don't know what you're going to get, man.
That's
It's
hysterical.
a wild card, but
So tell me about so what you said you're an X-ray tech.
X-ray,
What was that a prior, like, was that just something you got after the fire department, before the fire department? Like how did you get that?
that was something coming out of high school. I kind of got interested in doing something in the healthcare field when I was younger. I was kind of accident prone and then out of the hospital. So just kind of got.
What's the worst accident you've been in?
Oh, I got attacked by a dog when I was 4. It almost killed me. A German Shepherd.
I'd say that would top the
About
charts.
ripped my head to shreds, man. Like 300 something stitches on my head.
Wow.
I'd say that's the worst. But that led me into just thinking healthcare might be a good field. Just seeing, being able to help people. And right out of high school, I kind of felt pressured by some people to pursue nursing, and went to school for a couple years and just realized that.
Did you like that, or?
I wasn't making the grades to get into that program. Coming out of high school, I didn't have to study at all, and was like top 20 in my class. We graduated like 300. I took that same mentality into college, thinking I didn't have to study or anything. And
when I was in high school, my next door neighbor was late to class, late to the bus stop. Dude was never studied, passed every test.
yeah,
I'm sitting here late night at the dinner table. Parents are like, you're going to finish your dinner. You're going to study for this test. You ain't going outside till you get these spelling words right. And I'd fail the test.
yeah. Well, some people just test well.
I tested terrible.
Yeah, and some people have that. I might ask you every single question right here, and you get it right, and then you go into a test scenario, and then some people's nerves, they just panic and can't.
Yeah, I want like my palms start to get wet, my feet smell funny.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I test terrible, and my sister is the same way. But we're smart people.
Yeah.
We just test bad.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Look
So-
at what you're doing. You're doing something right.
So for our listeners, if you're a bad tester, it's all right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, what do you suggest in that? Like, if I'm knowing, man, I know this stuff every night when I leave. I know this stuff, when my parents tell me. How do you?
The biggest thing is being confident in what you know. I don't second guess myself. When I take a test, I'm normally the first one done. I read the question.
Dude, I'm there after the bell rings.
You can normally eliminate a couple of answers right off the bat. And then, I never go back and change an answer unless something later on in the test directly contradicts an answer that I put, and then I'll go back and change it. But I never even go back and reread questions once I've answered it. Once I've answered it, I'm just done with it.
See, I think that's my problem. Like, I'll answer it, and then I'm on to the next one, and I start thinking like, oh man, I think I've marked it B, and it should be A, or I start second guess myself. So, do you believe that once you mark it, like, don't go with your intuition is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think normally your first instinct's correct in most situations in life, anyways. But you can almost all the time eliminate 2 answers right off the bat.
That's true.
And what I always try to tell people is answer the question they're asking. Don't answer what you think they're asking or how you try to twist it. It's normally very simple. Works for me.
You're a smart man. Because
I don't know about that. But
well, you're a smart man.
I don't know. My advisor when I was at Western asked me if there's anything I'd want to do with my life other than nursing because
you tested well?
No, my grades weren't going to.
Oh, he was pretty much saying, hey, you need a backup plan.
Yeah, absolutely. They're like, yeah, your GPA is.
Are you sure there's
what it was? I won't say what it is on here.
Are you sure you don't want to just make coloring books for a living,
they're
sir?
just like, is there anything else you've ever thought about doing with your life? Because you're not going to make it. And that's what led me to reevaluate from the whole nursing thing. And I took a year off from school.
Just kind of regroup or?
Just regroup, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I bumped into a guy from high school who said, hey, man, I'm interested in doing X-ray. I've started taking classes to go towards that. Would you be interested in pursuing that with me? And again, I knew I wanted to do something in healthcare, and X-ray was it was only supposed to be like a 2-year program, pretty good money with it as well. So I was like, why not? I think that year gave me some time to mature and just.
Is that what it is? It's 2 years and you
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
get your degree, or
It's
what?
2 years once you get in the program. You had some prereq classes, and I only took what I could pay for at the time. I didn't want to take out any loans, so I was only taking 1 or 2 classes.
So
a
you was
semester.
were you working at the time too?
Oh man, 2 jobs.
Oh wow.
Yes, I'd only take 1 or 2 classes. I was gone from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. almost every single day.
So you paid to learn, like you kind of paid as you went, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't want to take on any debt. So I kind of took a slower pace. It took me from the time I graduated high school 7 years to get technically a 2-year associate's degree.
Because of
Yeah.
I mean, you were debt free at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I came out of college, no loans whatsoever. I had some scholarships come out of high school and quickly lost that due to not performing well.
So what do you suggest to our listeners?
Oh boy.
I mean, what were you doing not to perform well? Were you just like
Well, again, it was just
not taking it serious?
Yeah, it was thinking that I didn't have to study. I didn't.
Oh, that's right.
Didn't have to do the homework, and I would just come in and take the test, and just thinking I was smart and already knew all the answers, and I was humbled.
Yeah.
But I didn't learn after the first semester. I was like, yeah, that was a fluke. Let's do another semester, and I guarantee I'll get better grades. Not change my practices, same thing. I was like, let's give this one more go. 3rd time's the charm. Didn't work out at all.
Wow. Well, let's go a little further back to. So where are you even from?
Bowling Green, born and raised.
Oh, wow.
Hometown boy.
So you've been here all your life?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
I moved away for 1 year, 1.5 years to a small city north of here called Horse Cave, Kentucky. That's where I ended up getting attacked by that dog when I was 4.
Oh, really? But I mean, it wasn't like your choice to move.
No. I
mean, you were 4.
Yeah, it was something with.
All right, I'm packing up, guys.
Yeah, it's me. I'm going to see the sights. I don't. City's not
much
big
to-
enough for me.
Yeah, I know.
A mom and stepdad thing. She got remarried, and he had some family there, and wanted to check that out.
So how was your childhood? Growing up, because a lot of our listeners are younger, and we get a lot of single moms too, and parents, and honestly, this podcast is directed towards a wide range of audience. But just tell me a little bit about who Dustin was, where he came from, and obviously we know where you're at today. But let's just fill me in on that backstory.
For the most part, I would say we grew up. I won't say like dirt poor, but we were on the lower income side of things. We lived in a lot of different trailer parks, a lot of different apartment complexes here in town. We had everything we needed to get by. There was no nights of not having dinner on the table or anything like that. But we didn't have a lot of extra to. I remember taking just maybe 1 or 2 vacations really when we were younger, so we just didn't have a whole lot for that. We moved around a lot. Almost every year to 2 years, I went to countless different, probably 4 different elementary schools.
Really?
3 or 4. So it was
So a lot of moving around.
A lot of moving around. It was difficult to make friends because I jumped from one elementary school to another. I went to 2 different middle schools.
Do you because we move Cadence around, with us, with my job, move me here, move me back. And Cadence has been one of those people that, jump from school to school. And she's pretty extroverted, to a point to where it's easy for her to make friends. But, I mean,
I was the opposite.
you were introverted.
Yeah, very shy. Still, to some degree, I am now. But yeah, I wasn't the outgoing person.
Do you
to try
kind of
to
like
reach out. resent
that? Like, you being moved around, like, did you feel like anger built up or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, there's some part of me that wish, I don't want to say normal childhood because, what's normal?
Right.
I think what we normalize is stuff that we see in movies or on TV. Would it be cool to have a home that we lived in for 15 years?
Yeah.
The memories were all in that house. Everybody grew up in that house, and we didn't have that. Do I wish I had that? I don't know. Looking back on it, I think everything works out how it's supposed to. I don't think I would be the person I am today if it wasn't for all those changes.
For the record, there is a bird right outside.
It is.
We are in the garage,
chirping.
and it's dark outside, and this bird is like, "Hey guys, it's time to wake up." It's on like China time or something.
Is that a bat? It just like woke up.
I'm waiting for something to come in and like swoop me.
Right when it got dark, this thing came alive.
Man.
I think it's a bat. I don't know.
But anyways, back to the childhood.
Yeah, moving around a lot. Not being able to do all the things we wanted to do. We were probably aggravated at the time about it, but
When you say we, who's we?
I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. I have an older brother, Jeremy, who's, I guess, 41, 42 right now. An older sister, Brandy, who's just turned 40 a couple weeks ago. And then I'm 38, like I said. So I'm the youngest
y'all
of
were
3.
What's the age gap between the oldest and youngest?
4. There's basically 2 years between us all.
Oh, okay. So y'all were pretty close in age. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't get to do a whole lot of extra stuff, but so I might have been aggravated at the time, but I don't look back and resent it now because I feel like we just wouldn't be the people we are now. I think a lot of that made us want to do better. Mm-hmm. Not that mom or anybody did bad or anything, but it's like, hey, this is how our childhood was. Let's be better for our kids. So that kind of drove all of us to be what I would consider somewhat successful.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, I mean, you, Brandy, and Jeremy are all very successful. And do you think that kind of pushed you guys to be successful is because of what kind of you grew up in and that? I mean, not saying it's a bad atmosphere, you know what I mean, but like, I want to do different. I want to do a little something different for my kids. That way they don't kind of grew up the way I grew up. And I think that's all parents. All parents want to do it different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They all want to top kind of.
But yet still, we still make mistakes as parents. Like,
daily.
I mean, I don't want to do some of the things that my parents did, but yet I'm doing things that my parents didn't do, and I'm still making mistakes along the way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure my kids, when they get older, they're like, well, I don't want to do this that my dad done to me or my mom done to me. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So it's like a never-ending wheel
Yeah,
that spins.
it's like I think I feel like I've improved my children's childhood so far above what my childhood was. But who knows what their memory or recollection of everything's going to be when they get married. Hopefully it's a good one, but they may get married and be like, God, I want to change. I don't want that kind of. I don't want my kids to live what I had to live.
Right, exactly.
Who knows what
That's
their perception
crazy.
is going to be? But hopefully it's a good one.
So when did you start to notice, like, man, I'm really doing good for not only myself, not only myself, but like, my family. Like, I finally, am moving forward with life in the right direction.
Well, finally graduating college, getting a degree, starting what I would consider my career, which I was probably mid-20s when that finally happened. I feel like that was huge because at that time, I was the first one in my family to go to college and to graduate from college. So I felt like that was definitely put me on the right path.
Did anybody else graduate between you and
since Brandy graduated,
nice.
of course, for
and Jeremy
early
was just like
childhood
born
development.
with,
He's like a prodigy, just a child,
dude is.
an IT genius.
So tell me,
he's a nerd.
I knew you told me a story. Like I said, guys, this is my cousin Dustin Blair, and I know him, but you guys don't, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're telling these stories that we did. But I remember something about internet or something, like he was able to get free internet back in the day or something.
Yeah, this dude, when he was in high school, which computers really just becoming popular back then.
Wait, around what year was this?
I graduated, we'd say mid-90s.
Okay. So, yeah.
Mid-90s. We probably got our first computer early 90s, and that, of course, they were huge boxes.
Windows,
back then.
I'm assuming.
Oh, I don't even remember, man. Who knows? I don't even know what was before Windows, honestly. It was probably whatever was before Windows. He latched onto it, learned everything he could about it. When he was in high school, I remember multiple occasions where, like, the police department or sheriff's department, their computer systems would go down, and they would go get my brother, 16, 17-year-old kid from Greenwood High School.
You're kidding.
And bring him to fix their computer systems.
No joke.
And it's just like...
That is crazy.
Yes, and then he just... he just got it. It just clicked with him. He didn't have to work hard for it. He just understood it all. And to this day, he still just gets it. He's super successful.
Yeah.
In the IT computer world, just living his best life.
That's wild.
Killing it.
I wish I knew a little bit more about computers than I do. I mean, I get it, especially with like all the equipment and stuff. Like, I wish I was more in tuned with like the editing process, sound, and just like the engineering aspect of audio.
Yeah. Like when we're trying to hook up like home systems at the house to get, the thermostat to connect with the phone or this or that, I can't even figure that stuff out. I have to.
Yeah. Hey, Google.
Well, Google or the wife, Jamie, she can figure it out sometimes. Even stuff as stupid as PlayStation 4, I can't figure out what's going on. It's just never been. And at the fire department, a lot of times we'll have the internet will be down or they can't get the TV to work right. And since I have glasses and I kind of look like a nerd, they just assume, hey, Blair, come fix this. And I'm like, guys, don't let
these looks deceive you, bro.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on
funny.
with the technology.
That's hysterical. So about when did you feel like you kind of started moving in that right direction? Around what age? Because I'm 32. I'll be 33 this year. A lot of these kids, like, I got to have a new car. I got to have a lot of stuff that is a first for me is like happening now.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say lucky. I was able to get a little bit of money out of the dog attack when I turned 18. So I was able to.
Well, you were lucky you lived.
I was lucky I lived, and I was lucky to get a little money out of it as well. So I was able to buy my first vehicle at 18 when I had.
What'd you buy?
It was an Isuzu Trooper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, probably nobody's ever heard of that on here at all, but I think it was a 1999 Isuzu Trooper. I bought it in probably 02.
My first car wasn't a Isuzu too, but it was a rodeo.
Oh, yeah. I remember that, actually.
It was awesome. Like, it had no air conditioner. The heat worked nonstop. Like, you couldn't turn it off. So even in like the dead of summer, like, it was blowing, and like.
But you were riding, man.
Yeah, I had wheels.
You didn't have to bum a ride.
I didn't have to bum a ride. My mom, I wanted to play sports, and she was like, "You want to play sports, or you want to, get a car?" And sports at the time, like football, it's like 2 days. Sports is a full-time job in high school. And I was like, man, I want a car. I want to be able to go places and do things. Obviously, I have rules behind that, be home at a certain time, this, that, and the other, let mom know where I'm at. But, I had a car. It didn't have a radio, but you know what? I improvised,
Did you have like a Discman, or did you, did you take like a boombox with you?
So,
I can't remember.
Yeah, so I bought a converter, and then I bought, I just took I don't even know how I got a converter. I didn't even know what a converter was. But evidently it converts the power from your car power to like AC power. And so I took my in-house stereo, plugged it in the back seat. But if you got over level 20 in volume, it would trip.
Shut the whole car down.
The car wouldn't shut down, but the thing would trip.
Yeah.
And you had to turn it off, reset it, go back to volume 10. But hey, I had music, but I don't even know who told me about a converter. I have no clue, but it worked.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking. I have no idea.
I guess someone was like, "Hey, go to the parts store and get a converter," and my dad was like, "I don't understand how this vehicle is not on fire right now."
Yeah, it's probably my brother. Probably Jeremy nerd.
But yeah, that was my first car. It was a Isuzu Rodeo, red, and it was a junker, but we painted the outside. At the end of the day, it looked really good for a first car. It was $1,000, and from then to now, I feel like as long as you're moving in the right direction, if you have a junker from the time you get a car up until 30-something years old, you should be moving forward in life, always trying to better yourself.
Yeah, well, I got two things with that. One, I guess I need to give credit where credit's due, because technically that wasn't my first vehicle. That was the first one I purchased. My mom and someone else went in together and bought me it was a Ford Ranger.
The Danger Ranger.
The red Danger Ranger, early 1990s model. It was a stick shift. So my first vehicle, I had to learn how to drop stick.
Who taught you how to do that?
My mom, man. We were lived way out in Rockfield, which is kind of a country area here outside of Bowling Green, and she took me to like the steepest hill out there.
No way.
Like drove down the hill, and then we were stopped at the top at a stop sign. She put the brake on. She's like, all right, get out. We're going to switch, and this is where you're going to learn to, you know, the whole gas and clutch and trying to learn how to stay at the top of this hill, man.
What was the time frame of learning that?
I don't know, man.
Oh,
boy.
Did it take multiple days, or did you learn it then?
We stayed out there for a while.
I guarantee
to
it.
learn it. But then you still had your learning moments after that. I'd be at a traffic light waiting to turn, and all of a sudden I kill it. And, you know, you got a whole line of people behind you ready to turn, and all of a sudden you've just killed your car multiple times. And the more you get nervous, the more
you get nervous,
people are honking behind you, and then you just keep killing it and keep killing it. So it definitely took a while to get really comfortable with a stick shift. So, yeah, let me give credit to my mom for that. So the first one I purchased was the Zoo Trooper. But the other thing I was going to say about that, when you talk about wanting to maybe, if you have a clunker your whole life, the other thing is, though, some people just really don't care what they drive.
That's true.
You know, they'd rather pay for trips or have a nicer house or, you know, whatever it is. So I've got some buddies who just drove, we'll just call them clunkers. And it's just, they just rather spend their money on other stuff.
That's
so
true.
them, it's just vehicles, as long as it's dependable and gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah, that's right. That's definitely for sure.
But yeah.
So fast forward a little bit. You got your car. You went to, did you go to high school here?
Warren Central High School, yes.
And you graduated when?
2003.
So 2003. And then you started the...
Did a couple of years at Western Kentucky
The nursing.
University, the big university here in town for nursing. I would have started, back then it was called Bowling Green Technical College, probably in 05, 06. I was young 20s when I started that. Started the classes, started doing good in classes, got into the actual program itself, and almost found it to be quite easy. I guess that's kind of when I knew.
Like the X-ray tech program, right?
Yeah. I guess that's kind of when I knew that I was on
This
the right
is
path.
for me.
Yeah, because it just, like the technology was to Jeremy, that's kind of how the healthcare with the bones and the systems of the body and everything, that's just kind of how it was for me. I was like Rain Man. I just got it. It just clicked. I didn't really have to study for it. It just came to me, really. So that's kind of when I knew, okay, I'm going in the right direction here. This is.
Did you always want to, like, was there anything you wanted to be, like, when you were younger, like, you know, from what I remember, like, I always remember you saying, like, you wanted to be a doctor or something.
Yeah, that's my earliest memories. I remember,
like, standing over at Meemaw's house, standing up by the entertainment center, and, like, I remember them asking, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I just remember you saying, I want to be a doctor, you know?
yeah, I remember doing reports on, like, careers when I was in elementary school, probably 4th or 5th grade, and it's, you know, do research on different careers and see what you wanted, and I always just kept going back to a doctor for some reason. And I quickly learned that I didn't have the drive. I lacked the motivation and drive to go to school for 8 to 10 to 12 years.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Maybe I had the smarts, maybe I didn't. I don't know, but I just didn't have the motivation. So kudos to all those people. We need them, but it just wasn't for me to go to school for that long.
Yeah.
So I tried to do not the next best thing, obviously, but still go in that healthcare direction where I could help people and still make a decent living.
Now, when along this journey of life, we'll call it, did you, like, say, you know what, I want to be a fireman?
Yeah,
because that's totally, you know, I mean, I don't know what the pay scale is, but I feel like, you know, you would be doing good as a X-ray person, and then you're like, hey, I want to fight fires for a living. I want to risk my life and take a pay cut, essentially. I mean, I don't know how all that works.
Yeah, I wasn't one of those guys. I can't claim that I've always wanted to be a firefighter. You know, I never ever mentioned as a kid that that's what I wanted to be. I didn't have anybody like that I looked up to. So it was, you know, I'd been in X-ray for 5 or 6 years, and another guy that worked in X-ray was also a firefighter.
Oh.
And him and I got to working out together. And just one day while we were working out together, man, he was just like, hey, man, you ever thought about being a firefighter? And I was like, no, it's never crossed my mind whatsoever. So we just got to talking about it. And every time we would work out together after that, we just he just shared some more information about the job with me. And the more I heard, the more interested I got in it. And
Yeah, I think it'd be a pretty sweet job. Like, it sounds super fun. Like, almost like a police officer. Like, a police officer's job sounds super fun. I'm sure the police officers that are listening are like, oh, no, sir, you don't want to be that. But, like, what's even the process? Like, where do people start if that's something they want to do? I mean, we could have listeners on us like, hey, my dad's a firefighter, or my cousin's a firefighter. I want to do that. Like, where do you start?
so, I mean, the process here for our department anyways is, once you apply, you have a written test you have to take. You have multiple interviews. There's a physical test you have to pass. Like a lie detector. There's some other little things that you have to do along the way.
Is it a long process or?
Yeah, ours is, you start off with a couple hundred applicants normally, and they just slowly have to weed it down step by step. So our hiring process here takes, 5 to 6 months probably from the time that you submit your application to the time that they actually.
I could imagine, like, if that's something I want to do and, like, I got my mind set on it, like, I'm going to do this, and then you have to wait 5 to 7 months to be able to be like, you got the job.
It's hard because then you take your written test and then you just wait 2 or 3 weeks to see if you're moving on.
My anxiety would be through the roof.
And then, okay, I've moved on. Let me go to the next step. Then you do your first interview. And then, again, once your interview's done, you're waiting 2 to 3 weeks to see if and it's just so on and so forth until you get hired, And you know my story. It took me 5 years of applying before I finally got hired. So there were definitely some highs and some lows throughout that process.
Yeah. I mean, 5 years, like, usually after the first time, if I get knocked down, I'm just like, I got this. I'm gonna try one more time. Second time, I'm like, dang. But 5 times, I couldn't imagine. So what even kept you focused on that end goal?
Man, I got it in my head that I guess this is probably something that I've been most passionate about in my life. Once I locked in on, hey, this is what I want to do, there was just this drive about me that I wasn't going to stop until I got there. So just every year, I just focused on trying to do something else to make myself stand out in the process. I went through EMT class, became an EMT, tried to do some more volunteer work in the community because, we're big on getting out in the community and volunteering. So I added that to my resume, and it was just...
Oh, so like even at the start of the process, so it's like a written application. When you say you added it to your resume, so like the different stuff you did throughout the 5 years, your resume just kept building.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just wanted, each year I wanted to add something else so they didn't think I was just being complacent.
Right.
And not doing something. I wanted to just show them, hey guys, I'm still here. I'm still trying to get the job. I'm improving. Look at me. And I'm going to keep coming back. You're eventually going to hire me.
Right.
I'm going to keep coming back until I get the job.
So do you think they just said, hey, there's Blair.
They said, gosh, here he is.
He's back.
This guy's never going to stop. Just finally put him on.
So how do you like it now that how long have you been?
I have been probably 2 years and 3 or 4 months.
Is there like a probation period with that, or?
There is. So once I got hired, I was in a 12 to 14 week, what we call recruit class, basically training to be a firefighter.
So it's almost like a boot camp, kind of?
Essentially, yeah, felt like it. Well, I've never been to boot camp. I don't want to disrespect any soldiers and compare it to that. I'm sure it's probably a lot different. But to me, never having gone through anything like that, it kind of felt like a boot camp in some regards. At some points throughout the training, not the whole training, we got to do some really cool stuff when we were training. But then I have actually...
What's like the coolest thing you got to do? Because I think, like, did you rappel or something?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like rappelling off of bridges. And you're in just basically a harness around your waist and legs, nothing around your shoulders or anything.
Now, when you say harness, is it... Because when I was in ROTC in high school, we built a harness out of a rope.
Okay, so...
It was called a Swiss seat.
So no, I do know how to do that, but this was a pre-made harness that you actually step into and fasten down.
So a little more secure.
A little more secure, but it's only around your waist and legs.
So no back support.
No back support, nothing over your shoulders.
Oh,
so,
wow.
we go to this walking bridge, and you've probably been to the bridge. I don't know how far the water is down under.
Is that the one off the bypass here?
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's like a historic bridge.
100 feet, 200. I
I mean,
really don't know.
it's a big drop.
It's a big drop.
I mean, if you drop, you're done.
Yeah. It's a big drop. And so, they'd lower us, I don't know, 50, 7,500 feet. I honestly don't know.
With what? Like,
So, I mean, our harness would be attached to a rope system.
oh.
And we would lower down. And once they got us, let's call it 100 feet down. I'm not quite sure. They're like, okay, now let go of the rope and flip upside down. Go inverted.
Wow.
And it's like,
I would be like,
nothing,
I'm not doing it.
Nothing on my shoulders. There's nothing. So you have to trust the process.
Is that part of the test? I mean,
well, and then they wanted you to flip upside down and then let go. And we had a rope and they wanted us to tie like knots or something. They wanted us to do something with our hands because they're like, you could be in a situation where we have to lower you down like this. And there might be a patient down there or a victim who needs medical attention and you have to flip upside down and now you're having to help take care of them. But it also teaches you to trust that even though it's just a harness that's around your waist and legs, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to slip out of it.
I mean, I would do it.
I'm terrified.
I guarantee it.
Absolutely terrified.
I think it would be fun. I think that's like that kind of stuff I enjoy.
It's different.
The thrill.
Yeah, I mean, I've had so many firsts since I've been at the fire department. So that's
and how does that make you feel?
Oh, it's awesome.
Do you feel like I'm pretty sweet?
Yeah, I wish I'd have grown up doing this kind of stuff, really, but to still be able to have the opportunity to do it. We were actually rappelled off one of the parking structures up at Western, probably 6 stories high. So just getting to do that kind of stuff is really fun.
And you're 38. Like, what's old for a fireman? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like it's me. I got into the game a lot later in life.
Yeah, because like, what's normal?
It's kind of a young man's game. I'd say most people get hired, in their young to mid-20s.
Yeah.
I was, 30. I think I turned 36 when I was in recruit class. Me and one other guy in my class were both 36. Everybody else was 20s. So I feel it every day. Working in the hospital my entire life and then going into to be a firefighter where it's a lot more physically demanding, I feel it. Definitely starting so late in life.
Couple questions now since we're on the talk about the fireman Dustin Blair. We posted on our Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, it's the.awesome.lawsons. And so what we do is, like, if we're hosting a special guest, we'll post, something that's like, hey, what kind of questions would you like for us to ask? These, sir, are questions from our viewers.
All right. I like it.
So our questions will get answered for our listeners.
Our listeners, not our viewers. Nobody's watching us right now,
the viewers were watching here, but now they're listening here.
All right. I'm confused.
Me too.
I'll just answer questions. It's all right.
So this one is from Anna. So it was like, how long have you been working? I think we may have covered that, but you want to touch on that real quick?
How long at the fire department?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2.5 years now.
And this is from Megan. How do you like your job as a firefighter?
Absolutely love it. I wish I would have started trying to do it when I was in my early 20s as well.
Why?
Man, just one of the greatest things is just every day's different. It's not the same monotonous day over and over and over because you really have no idea what your day is going to hold. You have no idea what that next call is going to be. Every day is 100% different than the last day.
Yeah, I would say that's different from a factory because, like, you go in, you know your station, you know the stuff you're doing, you know the buttons that got to be pushed, you know how many times that button's got to be pushed that day. But, with the fire department, it's like you're waiting around until the bell rings and then you figure out what's going on.
Yeah, so, it might be a medical call we have to go do.
I was going to say, what calls do the fire department assist with? I know fires, but, what else?
So, yeah, definitely fires, a lot of car wrecks. We help out on a lot of the medical calls in town. We kind of have an agreement with the ambulance service here in town where we go in conjunction with the ambulance. And a lot of times we're positioned so strategically throughout the city that most of the time we get to a medical call several minutes before an ambulance might actually get there. So all of us are EMTs. Some of us are paramedics. So we have the ability to at least try to stabilize the situation if it's a real bad one before the ambulance.
So you say EMTs and paramedics. What's the difference?
EMT is a little more basic per se. You can only do so much. Paramedic can intubate a patient, which is
Oh,
put a breathing
gotcha.
tube down. They can start IVs. They can push medicines, pretty much any medicine that a patient needs.
So is that kind of like a
Paramedic can do
like a
that.
nurse on wheels, kind of like? Is it kind of like a nurse? I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
If you're pushing
Yeah.
IVs and stuff
nurse.
for the ambulance world, am I saying that right?
I don't-
Ambulance,
ambulance
world.
I don't want to give any false information, but of course, to be a nurse here, you got to have at least an associate's degree, 2-year degree once you're in the nursing program. I think to be a medic, I think it's maybe an 18-month program through various colleges. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to get anything wrong, but
Moon Fairy.
Moon Fairy, I like that.
Her question or his question is, why'd you choose to be a firefighter? And we may have touched on that already, but what was the big reason that you was like, hey, I want to do that?
Yeah, well, a lot of it was, and I didn't really mention this earlier, but I had been in the hospital and healthcare for so long. I started in healthcare when I was 18. Even though I didn't become an x-ray tech until mid-20s, I had been in the hospital in various roles. And I'm not trying to toot my horn or pat myself on the back, but I just felt like I was really good at it. It just, like I said earlier, it just clicked with me. I basically knew everything there was to know about x-ray. And once that gentleman started talking to me about being a firefighter, it was kind of opened up something where I had never really pushed myself.
You kind of like settled for x-ray because it was something that came to you?
Yeah.
So you're like, why not?
Yeah, it was good.
But you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I made, decent money doing it, but I got to thinking, like, I'm kind of taking the path of least resistance. I never really stepped outside of my comfort zone and really pushed myself mentally, physically. So I was like, this is going to be a challenge. I want to see what I'm made of. I want to see what else I can do. But then also I want to be outside of these walls.
Yeah.
I do all the hospital work. It's kind of in a controlled environment, obviously.
I love being outside too. Like,
yeah, let's get out and see how I can help the community outside of being in the hospital and just really challenge myself.
yeah. And you said comfort zone. Like, I've always been told, like, if you're comfortable, it's like you're not vulnerable.
Well, and you never want to get
You never want to be
in any job.
comfortable.
You never want to get complacent. Let's say the word complacent. You never want to be complacent in any job that you have. You want every day you should be learning something different.
Yeah.
Striving to be better every single day, and it's okay to be something else. I like to. It's okay to not be good at something, but it's not okay to not be working on that to try to get better. There's a lot of stuff that I've only been a fireman for 2 years, and I'm not your prototypical. I didn't grow up with like a mechanic's mind. I didn't grow up with tools, and so I'm already behind the 8 ball from a lot of these guys who are just a lot more advanced than me. They have a lot more knowledge. So it's like every day, constantly, I'm trying to learn something different, trying to just keep improving because I'm nowhere near where I need to be.
Right. Next question from someone here on Instagram. This is a good one. SJ Yunt. Yes, SJ_Yunt wants to know, and I want to know, do you have a Dalmatian?
Personally? All right.
Personally? So like all the children's books have like Dalmatians. So is it true that firemen have a Dalmatian dog?
So we do not have a Dalmatian
They've lied to us all these times, guys.
at the Bowling Green Fire Department. So what I will say, we do have, we'll call her a fire dog, Millie.
Okay.
She is with the Bowling Green Fire Department. She is an accelerant detection canine. So essentially she can go to a fire and she's been trained to sniff out if there's been any kind of accelerants used
That is crazy.
to start the fire. Or
So like gas.
essentially,
anything.
arson of any kind where they might have doused the place before they set it on fire.
That is crazy.
I think she might be the only accelerant detection dog in the state of Kentucky.
I mean, what's the process of becoming that of a dog? Like, is there certain dogs that can do that, or is...
So from my understanding, I've heard this story a few times. She was if I'm not mistaken, she failed out of like I can't remember if she was training to be like a seeing eye dog for the blind or a service dog of some sort.
Right.
And she failed that training essentially. So it's a true story, man. So
That's crazy.
they then sent her to, I don't know if they were just trying different things with her.
We
or
like
somebody
you.
or
We're going to
somebody-
give you a
or
chance.
somebody suggested it, but because she failed that, she eventually went into the accelerant world. And,
How y'all know she ain't lying?
and she thrived at that. So she has a handler. She only goes with
Like a select person, I guess.
one person. And that's when he's not at the firehouse. Millie is her name. I don't know if I said that.
So she stays at the firehouse.
when he's there,
Oh,
she is with him 24 hours a day.
Wow.
So when he's at home, she's at home. That is
so she gets her off days, or is like, unless they need it, unless they suspect something.
he's on the same kind of rotation as us, where he does 24-hour shifts. But if she was needed during his time off,
That's crazy,
but yeah, I don't think that she is at the department on his days off.
man.
She's a phenomenal dog. I mean, they do demonstrations all the time about.
I think that would be cool to like take her to the schools or something like.
Yeah, they do. They do a lot of public outreach to the
Really?
schools with her and do demonstrations. And you'll have, let's say, 15 kids lined up, and he'll put one just tiny little dab of an accelerant on one of the kids' shoes. And she'll go, everybody will know what kid it is, right?
Right.
And she'll go kid to kid to kid to kid. And when she sniffs it on that shoe, she'll just sit down right there, never move. You'll try to get
That's
her to move.
crazy.
And she's not going anywhere.
She's like, I found it.
Yeah,
That's
she's-
it.
She saw it. So I mean, just the moral of the story is, if you flunk in one thing, even the dog shows you too. You flunk in one thing, hey,
Yeah.
there's still something else.
That's true.
Don't give up. There's still something else out there that you might be able to thrive at.
That is true. Hey, this is DeHarsa, I think. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. DeHarsa12 said, "What's the scariest rescue you had ever had as a firefighter?"
Well, the guys at my station like to call me the White Cloud. And they call me that because ever since I've been on, we have very little action, to be quite honest with you. Some of your, I mean, we get a lot of runs, but it's more of your basic. I don't want to downplay anything, but no just crazy fires. We've had a few small fires. We have had to get, a gentleman was repairing a roof and had a seizure up there, and we had to get him off the roof.
It's a wonder he didn't fall.
Yeah, he was lucky. So I remember being a part of that, and you attach him to a spine board and put him in a basket, and we attach that to a ladder, and eventually, you lay the ladder back and he comes back. It's, so I've done that kind of rescue. I've rescued some kittens. It's just, true story fireman. I've gotten one. That's kind of my claim to fame right now. Is
Let's hear about it.
I have gotten a cat out of a tree. It was probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 feet up in a tree. A small little kitten had gotten up there, and they call us out to help, and we have to set the aerial, which is like the ladder truck.
Wait a second. Is this what you're known for?
Well, no, I mean, I like to think that it's a big deal, but nobody else at the fire department does.
I'm loving it.
And anyways, I'm a new fireman at this time, and so obviously I'm the one that has to climb up, and I climb up and get the cat, who's a little aggressive, and I snatch it up, and there's probably 10 or 15 spectators from the area just watching, and that's all I can think is, please, God, do not let me drop this cat right here and just splatter everywhere. But
That's so funny.
So yeah, I've got that going for me.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks. I honestly can't think of any other great. We've had a few car wrecks where people have been pinned in a little bit, and we have to do a little work to get them out of the car, but nothing. There have been a lot of good rescues since I've been on the department, but it just happens to be different days, right? And
Nice.
some of my days off, some other guys have done some.
Have
good
you
work.
ever been like off and see like a call that they're going on, and you're like, man, I wish I was on that shift, right?
all the time, man, all the time. I can't tell you the number of fires that have happened within an hour or two of me leaving work, or within an hour or two of me before I come on to shift.
Really?
Yes. 10, at least, like good ones that I
Like-
just completely miss.
You're just like, darn, I'll just pull up in my
That's why.
my Ford.
That's why everybody. I mean, that's why they call me the White Cloud, man. It's just they've
That's
never
crazy.
seen anything like it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild. So your first call, so I'm sure you gotten calls to like car accidents or, broken ankles. I don't know. But like your first fire call, walk me through it. Was you pumped?
So the first, I'll walk you through the first call that I got where we were first on scene. We get knocked out to an apartment for a fire alarm, and then when we're en route, they upgrade it to, hey, there's smoke showing there's an actual fire. We come around the corner, and when I see it was a townhouse actually, and I actually see smoke coming out, I wanted to throw up, honestly.
Just get
I was
nervous.
just like, oh no, here it is. I mean, this is what you train for, but,
right?
But whenever it happens, there's definitely a bit of nervousness.
Oh yeah. I mean, I could train to jump out of a plane every day and be like, "Oh, I got it. I know what cord to pull. I know the steps to take." But when I'm up in the air and it's time to jump, I'm like,
it's a different ballgame. I don't know if I could even pull the cord, honestly. If I was jumping,
I want to go skydiving so bad.
Sidebar,
I want to, but until I'm up in the air, then I'm like, was this a good idea?
It'd have to be tandem. I'd have to have somebody there who could pull a cord for me because I'm afraid I would lock up and just
fall
and just not be able to. Yeah.
Oh man,
I don't know if I could probably do it, but I just have that feeling that's what would happen. But yeah, just nervousness, honestly. And it wasn't a big fire once we go in and actually put it out, but just that first call, like, okay, here we are. We're the first ones here. There's smoke. It's time to go to work. It was definitely some jitters.
Yeah.
I've not had really just a huge, great fire. So if I got one next day and I round the corner and there's just flames everywhere, I mean, there's definitely still going to be some of that nervousness, but we train hard. We train every day.
So even when you're at the station and not at a job, y'all are doing something.
Yeah, we train normally of a morning, and then we train in the afternoon as well. So we train a lot. So we're ready for whatever we get, for sure.
Yeah. This is totally off topic, right. But this is a question that I thought would be cool. But if you could bring 5 people to a desert island, which 5 people would they be?
Are we talking anybody in history?
And I want to kind of go through this too. Yeah, I think anybody. So let's do anybody in history. Anybody.
Okay, do you want to do excluding family? Like, let's make this celebrities and historic figures, or you want to throw in?
Well, I don't know.
I got to bring my wife, and at least my wife. I got to bring her. Maybe not the kids, but
to desert island.
Why not? I love my wife. I like sharing moments with her. Anything that.
Okay, so wife is one.
A desert island?
Yeah.
Is this like a tropical desert? Like, what do we?
So we're like surrounded by water.
Okay.
On this desert island. This is now possible, okay?
Okay.
So we're surrounded by water. It's like a beach, I guess.
Okay.
A hot beach.
Okay. I want to hear your first one first. I want to see what direction you're going with this.
So my first person, I'm thinking like shelter, food. I'm bringing Bear Grylls. Is that his name?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Like he could show us what bugs to eat, which plants to eat.
Okay, I like that.
And we can come up with this list together.
Well, somewhere along those lines, I like to watch Naked and Afraid.
Oh yeah, I like that show.
I enjoy that. So then they have Naked.
Do you
and
like
Afraid XL and all
the naked or the afraid part?
I like it all, man. So there's a couple guys on there, and I'm not going to know their last names, but one's name is Steven, one's name's Jeff, I think, and they're like the all-stars, right? Every time they have a huge challenge, these guys are on it, and they can build shelters. They know, can hunt anything.
Dude, there's a fisherman on there. I can't think of what his name is, but he caught the eels.
Oh, that's Jeff.
Dude, he is sweet.
And he was screaming and celebrating every time.
Yeah, he was like, yeah!
Yeah, that's Jeff, man.
That's who
either one of them or...
He was like the fisherman.
Yeah.
He caught the eels for the village. Yeah, he's sweet, dude.
They can make fire out of nothing, and shelter's phenomenal. And
he finished like every single time, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he finally had one on this last season where he got sick and had to tap out. But
would you ever want to do something like that? Like to just push your body? in mind to like.
I'm not opposed to it if I could be clothed.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Naked.
I don't want to be naked, but
I don't know if I could. I'm really not into eating bugs and stuff, and
I want to be like.
I don't like fish at all. I don't. So
you're gonna have to learn on this island, bro.
Having to survive off fish. Are there chickens on this island?
So like I always wanted to do like the Alaskan front, like be in Alaska and just try to survive. Like I want to see what my body can handle in any situation. I want to push my limits.
Yeah, I get it.
Absolutely. I guess it's like a man thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So Bear Grylls would be mine. You said
I'm gonna take Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff from Naked and Afraid.
I'm gonna come on your boat. So now you got me, bro. So now we got to fill 2 other slots. I'm thinking we need a good, entertainer.
That's honestly exactly what I was thinking next. Who can entertain us?
Because, I mean, I think Kevin Hart would be funny on an island, because he's going to be there to lift you up.
Do you think he would get old after a while, not being able to get away from him?
Yeah, like
just kind of that screaming and loud all the time.
So who are you thinking, like, who's a good entertainer who's like, man, I can never get enough of this guy? I'm hearing a cricket.
Yeah, I hear that too. I'm trying to think of just who's a good chill comedian I'm trying to think of who I've seen lately.
What about that guy that takes his shirt off and like...
Oh, what's his name? Bert Kreischer?
Yeah, he's like super funny, dude.
Man, he would be
he's super chill.
Gosh, what's that guy's name?
I don't. Theo Vaughn. Yeah, he would be. He would be
hilarious.
I would love to be on a podcast with Theo. So Theo, if you're hearing this, bro, I would love to be on a podcast with you. I think it'd be super cool.
So that's where I'm going. I'm going with
entertainer.
I'm going with Theo. Let's go with Theo Vaughn.
So we got ourselves. We got
Bert would find a way to get us drunk, and it'd be wild. I don't know.
He'd be like, "Take your shirt off."
It'd end up being Naked and Afraid with him on there.
I'd just be afraid.
Yeah.
So we got an entertainer. We got someone to, and then. I think we need like a spiritual person to like just keep us sane, like
Jesus,
just to like reel us back. Yeah, kind of like Jesus. Some good gospel spoken person, like, but not over the top. You know what I mean? Like someone to just kind of like reel us back and be like, hey, you're having fun over here. You're eating bugs, but still keep your faith. You know what I mean?
Are we talking like Joel Osteen or whatever? Yeah, are we talking that much? Or are we talking like our local?
Isn't he overboard? Like,
are we talking our local preacher? I love my pastor. He's a great guy. Steve Ayers. I mean, we could Steve Ayers.
Steve would be fun. He's a good. He likes to have fun.
He's good on a boat.
He can drive a boat. Maybe he could build a boat so we can get out of Dodge. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, we could get Noah. He can build. Noah could build a boat too, man.
If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently from, start to finish?
This is going to sound really cliche or something, but honestly, I'm really thrilled with where I'm at. I've had some ups and downs, but everything has led me to where I'm at now. I wouldn't be the person I am now if I didn't have those peaks and valleys. I've made mistakes, but nothing. I've never been in jail, never been arrested.
You made life lesson learnings, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I haven't messed up so much that it cost me something in the long run.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. Everybody always asks, like, what would you do different? Honestly, if I wouldn't, and like you said, it's kind of cliche, but like if I wouldn't had lived this life, I may not even be sitting here right now. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
In this particular setting, in the garage, having a podcast session with my cousin,
absolutely.
You go through life. It's a learning experience. You learn lessons. It's what you do with what you learn to try to do better on down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me tell you something deep here. That if I had, really the only time I've had regrets in my life would be not spending enough time with people before they pass.
Oh, 100%.
I look back on certain times where I just wish I'd have spent more time with somebody before they passed away.
You know, I think we don't realize that until they're gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we could say that now, but we still, tomorrow, we're not picking up the phone and calling that person. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and it's sad, but it's 100% true. Like, until that person's gone, it's like, man,
Yeah.
now there's no one to call. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's a good thing to say is like, call that person and say, hey.
Absolutely. Anybody, all your friends, everybody, really. But yeah, grandparents, parent, you know. I mean, in life, I could just do a better job about that.
I think we all could.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
What else we got? Anything?
I think that's it, bro. I appreciate it. What's your favorite quote before we close out?
Oh, I don't think I can say that on here.
My favorite quote is one of mine is there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
That's a good quote.
That is a good one. I don't know who said it, but I've always kind of stood by that. Like, even like Cadence is so scared of the dark. Like, I'm like, and I was scared of the dark until my dad, this may sound bad, but he took me to this house that was under newly construction in this new neighborhood where we lived. And he took me and my stepbrother and him, takes us in this house and just disappeared. Like, he's like, I don't know if he called someone to say, hey, come here to this house and act like you're, you know, the person moving in soon. But it was like a newly construction house. So it was framed. It was not finished at all. Like, you could fall over the banister or something, you know what I mean? So he takes us in this house, and then like we see these headlights pull in, and we're like, oh man, someone's coming. And he's like, hide. And we're like, and he's gone, dude. He's gone. And me and my stepbrother are looking at each other, and we're like, what the heck do we do?
Yeah.
So like these people, they get out, we hear the door shuts. My heart is like, do-do, do-do, do-do. And you know, I get in this little space, and I remember Dad saying like, if you can't see their eyes, they can't see you. And I was like, covering my eyes at this point. Like, maybe they won't see me.
That's logical.
So like, man, but whenever he took me in there, like, I think that's what kind of broke me of being scared of the dark at that point. It was like, bro, they can't even see me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why be scared?
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. A couple little ones that come to mind is there's a line in a song from Lecrae, kind of a rapper who's Christian. I won't label him as a Christian rapper because he raps about other stuff too, but it's just a short little line that says, don't get bitter, get better. I'm working on switching those letters. And that hit me hard a long time ago. If people were trying to critique me or push me or, you know, give me some criticism, it's like, hey, don't get bitter about this. Don't get angry that they're telling you this. They're telling you this because they want you to get better, right? They see potential in you. They think you can do better. So don't get bitter about a criticism. Just get better. And then give them a reason. Then they won't be able to criticize you, right? Get better, do things the right way, and they won't be able to criticize you.
man, if our listeners could take anything out of today's conversation, what do you think they should kind of focus more on?
A couple of things from my life is just, you don't necessarily have to take a traditional path to get to where you want to go. But also, you're never too old to chase your dreams, right? I decided to be a fireman at 30, 31, 32, and grinded hard for 5 years. Finally became one at 35, 36 years old. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, I got knocked down 5 years in a row. One of the only times my wife has ever seen/heard me cry was, I think it was the 4th year that I got my rejection letter. It just hit me hard because I just knew that was my year.
Right. And dude, after
the rejection
that
letter, man, I bawled my eyes out. But I came. The next year was the year that I got hired. I just came back stronger and just kept improving. And so it's just, you get punched in the mouth, you get back up. Right, just keep trying to improve.
That's it, man.
Don't settle for failure. If there's something you want, keep going. Find a way.
Stay hungry.
Absolutely.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on today's show. I appreciate it.
It's been a blast. Thanks for having me.
Again, Dustin Blair, not only a firefighter, not only a dad, not only a great friend, a great family man, dude's an inspiration, man. Thanks for coming on the show. I will definitely have you back again.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I appreciate it.
Real quick, we got new merch out, theawesomelarsons.com. Don't forget to get your busted new gear. We got that new drip that you want. If you want to look like Cadence, if you want to join the family, you got to pick you up some busted new gear. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. On YouTube, The Awesome Lawsons. We got our Instagram, the.awesome.lawsons. We also have started this here podcast, so if you're listening, thanks. Be sure to tell all your friends about it. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time on episode 4. Dustin, thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.